because the professors. Okay? You did not go and like stalk the guy and complain to him. That's kind of disrespectful. Right? So the question then is, why is this happening? So I'm going to show you another video. And this video is kind of crazy. Okay, this video.
You understand? As your decision matter is your job. You have place of comfort and home for the students that live in children. You have not done this. But thinking of that email, that would become your position of the
Okay, so this is not appropriate. That again, both sides have legitimate points. But this is not appropriate, right? Because what you're saying to him is, you work for us. Your job is to make us feel at home. And his response is that my job is to help you learn. My job is to help you grow. And that means openness. That means debate. That means change. And her response is, I don't want that crap. I want to feel good. I want to feel at home. I don't need talent. And if you think about it, that defeats the entire point of university. So, again, I'm not saying who's right. I'm not saying who's wrong. But clearly there's a problem here. And when I went to Yale a long time ago, we didn't have any of this. In fact, this sort of incident where a student would hurt a professor, it was unimaginable to us. Okay? So the question then is, why is this happening? And there are three explanations for why this is happening. The first explanation is parenting. These kids grew up in very good households, and their parents are very protective also. And their parents treat them like friends. And so these kids are spoiled, okay? That's the first explanation. The second explanation is the idea of a consumerist mentality. So in a university, the idea is that the students are consumers, they're customers. The customers are always right. What the customers want, you have to give them. So if the customers want a safe space, they want to come and enjoy their time at university, and they don't really challenge, the professors have to meet their demands. Otherwise, he should not have this job. Okay, and this is a mentality that we call neoliberalism or consumerism. Okay, that's the second explanation. Okay, the third explanation is ideological. So the idea is that at universities are overrun by left-wing professors who teach students that society is racist against minorities who happen to be, black and female. And they must overturn the white racist supremacist structure. And you do that by telling white professors who are privileged that they are racist. Okay, so these are three standard explanations for why this is happening. Because this sort of stuff is happening quite a lot in America. What I want to argue to you today is that there's actually another explanation, which I think is much more compelling. And the explanation is that universities have become bureaucracies. Before, universities existed to teach you how to think, to help professors do cutting-edge research that helps society improve or innovate. But today, universities, including Yale, Harvard, all the universities have become bureaucracies that exist in order to promote the interests of the administrators who want to sit in their office, get really nice, get a really big salary, and feel good about themselves. Okay? That's the argument I will make to you today. And what I will show you is that this is not just true for universities, it's true for every major organization in America and in the Western world, and arguably all around the world. Okay, that's the argument I will make to you today. Any questions before I begin? All right. Okay, so today's lecture is Death by Bureaucracy. So the idea of bureaucracy, the bureaucratic mindset, is taking over the world. All right, so let's talk about another incident at Yale. Okay, this is Yale Law School, and a student named Trevor Colbert, he sent an email. He has a party, he sent an email to all the students at Yale Law School. And there are actually not that many students at Yale Law School. There's only 300. Okay? But all the students get it. And he said that he's going to this party. It's a trap house party. And you know, it's a bit of a joke. Because trap house means actually a drug house, a place where drug dealers sell drugs. But black students, African American students, read the email and they're offended. They're like, are you making fun of black students? Dealers sell drugs. But black students, read the email and they're offended. And they're like, are you dealers sell things? And the students at Yale Law School, there's maybe 300. Okay? But this is an email. All right. So let's talk about another incident at Yale. Okay, this is Yale Law School. And a student named Trevor Colbert, he sends an email. He has a party, he sends an email to all the students at Yale Law School. And there are actually not that many students at Yale Law School. There's maybe 300. Okay? But all the students get it. And he says that he's going to organize a party. It's a trap house party. And, you know, it's a bit of a joke. Because trap house means actually a drug house, a place where drug dealers sell drugs. But black students, African American students, read the email and they're offended. And they're like, are you making fun of black students? So they write a letter of complaint to the deans of Yale Law School. And there are two deans who investigate. Okay, their names are Eldridge and Coxwell. Okay? And they said, and what Trevor Colbert does is he actually records the meeting, okay, secretly. For 20 minutes they talk. And basically, Colbert does not believe he did anything wrong. He sent an email, and he said it was a funny email. He thought it was funny, okay? But the deans tell him, you think it's funny, but other students found it offensive. So you need to apologize. And Colbert's like, okay, well, I'll tell you what. If these students thought that what I wrote was offensive, then I will talk to them. We will talk together about why they found the email offensive, and we will settle it amongst ourselves. And the dean's like, no. We want to help you guys out. We want to protect you guys. We're afraid that you guys will fight even more. And Trevor Colbert's like, well, I want to hear what they think. I don't want to hear this from you. I want to hear what they think, right? And then what happens is that the deans start to threaten Trevor Colbert. They basically tell him, these things amplify over time, so you must apologize right away for your sake, okay? And they tell him, listen, if you don't apologize, then this might affect your career. This might affect your social circle. So they're threatening him. And what they say is, we're doing this for your sake, okay? Alex says he worries with the email affecting the student's reputation, not just here, but when you leave. You know the legal community is a small one. And he says, you know what? I will write the email for you. I will craft the apology for you. And Coxwell wants an escalation of the possibility if the student doesn't apologize. Okay? So this is coercion. And again, the student, it's not clear what the student did wrong. Some students found it offensive, but it's not clear what rules or laws, what regulations Trevor Colbert wrote, okay? It's not clear. So why is this happening? Okay. My argument to you is that it's happening because these guys, Coxwell and others, they need things to do. Because being a dean of a university, it's not a real job. right? There are professors who teach, there are researchers who do research, but deans actually don't do anything. So when you have a bureaucracy, bureaucrats go make problems for everyone in order to create solutions for everyone. Okay? So another saying this is 20 years ago, 30 years ago, when I was at Yale, if you have a problem, you had to go talk to a professor because there's no one else to talk to. Nowadays, you can talk to like 20 or 30 different deans. Dean of student affairs, dean of student faculty relations, who knows, okay? But there are like all these offices they can go to. And quite honestly, the same at the school as well, right? If you don't like me as a teacher, there's like 4 or 5 different people you can complain to. And quite honestly, a lot of you do complain, okay? So I know about this. And what is happening is these universities have become bureaucracies. Now, the question then is, why the bureaucracy? And the answer is, in the beginning, at the university, you have to build your reputation, right? So you work hard, you focus on teaching, you focus on research. So it's a struggle to become a global brand. Once you become that global brand, there's nothing else to do. There's no more ideology, there's no more struggle. So what happens is the people in charge start engaging in rent-taking behavior. They take advantage of the position in order to make their life easier. And then they pass on this privilege to their friends and then to their children. And this creates a bureaucracy. And the university starts to exist in order to empower these people at the expense of students and professors. Okay? All right, so to show you how ridiculous this has become, here's an example. This is from CNN, okay, and this is the year 2020. A University of South Carolina professor is under fire for using a Chinese expression to make a that sounds like an English slur, okay? So there's a Chinese word that sounds like a racial slur, an insult in English. These 2 words actually do not sound the same. Okay, you know what the word is, right? 那个桌子，那个电脑. Okay, it's not the same as English words, but it sounds a bit similar. So what happened was, some black students, African American students, who were not in his class, okay, wrote a letter of complaint. And honestly, if you read it, it sounds like a joke. It sounds like a prank. Right? So let's read it together. Okay, so it's a professor, Greg Patton, and he's just teaching communication Chinese. He's just teaching Chinese to his students on how to communicate in China when you do business, okay? And he says, look, 那个, it's just a filler. It doesn't really mean anything. And he says it a few times. But there's no bad intention when he's saying, right? I mean, he's just pointing out facts. So what these students write is, this phrase clearly and precisely before instruction is always identified as a phonetic condiment in a racial derogatory term and should be carefully used, especially in the context of speaking Chinese in the social context of the United States. Okay? So this is a ridiculous idea. And honestly, it sounds like a joke, okay? It just sounds like these students are playing a joke. And the administration just ignore this, right? Guess what happens? The dean, okay, the head of the business school, announced that a different professor would take over teaching Chinese class. He fired Patton. And he said, Professor Patton repeated several times a Chinese word that sounds very similar to a vile racial slur in English. Understandably, this caused great pain and upset among students, and for that, I'm deeply sorry. It is simply unacceptable for faculty to use words in class that can marginalize, hurt, and harm the psychological safety of our students. We must and we will do better. Okay? He's being retarded. It's a joke, it's a prank, and he's taking it very seriously. Why? Because he's trying to protect his job. He's trying to look good. He's trying to explain why I'm the leader, because I protect everyone. Okay? So then again, why is this happening? Well, again, the idea of bureaucracy. So this is the University of California, San Diego. This is student enrollment, okay? So you can see a slight increase in student enrollment. But look at this. Senior management, deans, administrators, managers. Okay? So this is called rent-seeking behavior. This is people in power take advantage of the power to give jobs to a friend who do nothing every day. And because of that, they're always looking to cause problems for everyone else, especially professors who do real work. Okay? So let's look at universities. As you can see, the blue is teaching. So what's really interesting is that the investment in teaching has gone down. Okay? The investment in teaching has gone down, the blue, okay? But look at this. The red is administration. So over the past, from 1980 to today, over the past 40 years, universities have put less money into both administration as well as maintenance, but have put more money into administration, into bureaucracy. Okay, this is where your money is going, guys. All right, so this is Illinois. You'll see a massive surge in managers. At the same time, student enrollment is going down. It went down 3%. All right, so this is a paper written about the Swedish education system, the higher education system, okay? It's no different anywhere else. All right, so the argument is that bureaucracy is ballooning in Swedish higher education. So let's look at some interesting statistics. All right, what's happening is that this chart tells you that teachers are teaching more and more students, okay? Teachers are teaching more and more students, but administrators are managing less and less students. And the reason why is teachers are fewer and fewer, but managers are more and more. That makes no sense. Okay? So you can see that teachers and researchers, it's pretty flat. Okay, I didn't really show that much. But secretaries, people who do real work, it's going down. But managers are going up. Okay, so the university is facing a problem. The person usually cut are people who do no work, right? But the opposite. People who do no work, managers, keep their jobs, and in fact they pay themselves more. The professors and the maintenance and the secretary lose their jobs at cost. Okay. This is how much they're paid. As you can see, over the same time period, secretaries are getting paid less and less, teachers are getting paid less and less. But look at this. Managers are getting paid more and more. These are different departments, okay, of a university. So as you can see, okay, the departments that do real work, IT, HR, they're going down, but management is going up. Right? So the people who do actually no work, their jobs keep on going up and up. You get paid more and more. And as I said, the problem with bureaucracy is not only do managers do nothing every day, but they expect others to do more work. Okay? So professors, researchers, teachers, they're doing more work because the managers are doing more paperwork to do. Okay? Like evaluation and all that. So professors spend almost 20% of their workday on paperwork given to them by managers. And this paperwork is not necessary. It is given to them to justify the job of the manager. Okay? This is America. We go back to America, and as you can see, this is the university called Gallaudet. And as you can see, over a 20-year period, the blue are the salaries of professors. And it's pretty stable, okay? You went from 72 to 86, not a huge increase. But look, for managers, okay, the president, it doubled from 141 to 280. It doubled. Right now, the salaries are over 3 times as much as faculty.
Kim opens.
This is Connecticut. At Yale, the president makes $2 million a year. At Westland, he makes $3 million a year. Okay. This is a private university called Stratford University. And it went bankrupt. Right now, more and more universities are going bankrupt because obviously you have too many managers and all they do is get huge paychecks for doing nothing. Eventually, you're going to go bankrupt, right? So, yeah.
Sorry to interrupt, but the school board is not stupid. So, I mean, this is a fact. So why don't they just change it?
That's a great question, okay? The reason why is they're all friends. The school board, the president, the vice president, they're all friends. And that's why they can do this. Because they control all the power. They're all friends. And it's in their best interest to steal together. Right? If you steal by yourself, then you might get caught. But if you steal together, then you're untouchable, okay? So this is exactly what happened at Stratford University. The university was bankrupt, and because the president and the vice president are stealing from the university, stealing because they are not only collecting huge paychecks, but they're also expensing everything to the university. So for example, they have a car or they have a gym membership, they charge the university. And if the university can't pay for it, what they do is they lend money to the university. Okay? Alright? So Schultz is a president. He lists himself and his wife as the biggest.
This is a fact. So why don't they
A manager. This is a faculty. This is Connecticut. At Yale, the president makes $2 million a year. At Westland, he makes $3 million a year. Okay. This is a private university called Stratford University, and it went bankrupt. Right now, more and more universities are going bankrupt because obviously you have too many managers, and all they do is get huge paychecks for doing nothing. Eventually, you're going to go bankrupt, right? So, yeah.
Sorry to interrupt, but the school board is not stupid. So, I mean, this is a fact. So why don't they just change it?
That's a great question, okay? The reason why is they're all friends. The school board, the president, the vice president, they're all friends. And that's why they can do this. Because they control all the power. They're all friends. And it's in their best interest to steal together. Right? If you steal by yourself, then you might get caught. But if you steal together, then you're untouchable, okay? So this is exactly what happened at Stratford University. The university was bankrupt, and because the president and the vice president are stealing from the university, stealing because they are not only collecting huge paychecks, but they're also expensing everything to the university. So for example, they have a car or they have a gym membership, they charge the university. And if the university can't pay for it, what they do is they lend money to the university. Okay? Alright? So Schultz is a president. He lists himself and his wife as the biggest creditor, claiming that the university owes the couple $2.5 million for a promising them. Okay? So the university cannot pay their cars or their house mortgages, and the Schultz are like, don't worry about it. We'll lend you the money. And then when the university went back, I was like, okay, now you have to pay me back. Alright? So again, how were they able to do this? Because the filings also shed light on payments to university insiders in its final year of operation. The college paid out of over $30,000 in stipends to 7 trustees. The people at the top were getting paid off, even as the university was going bankrupt. Though the filing doesn't differentiate which expenses were Richard and which were Mary Ann, the filing for 2020 alone showed over $18,000 in lease and insurance payments for the Schultz cars. Okay, so they had cars and they were making the university pay for these cars. Over $4.7 million in loan payments and collateral returned to Eagle Bank on behalf of Schultz. Okay, so they're also making the university pay for their houses as well. And then you're like, how can they do this? Well, the answer is because in America, the rich always win in the court system. So whoever is able to hire the best lawyers always wins out. And they have a lot of money. The university is bankrupt, they don't have a lot of money. So they won't win out. Okay? So I put this out because this is what has happened to many universities over the next 5-10 years in America. Because you have a system where you have the managers at the top, they are all best friends, they're all stealing from the university together. And eventually the university will bankrupt. So that's America. Okay. Okay, but it's not, again, it's not just the university. This is every process, every organization that happens like this. So you look at Canada. In Canada, you can see a rise of 9% of the population, but look at the government, okay? It's went up by 26%.
Todo este tiempo he temido el disgusto del
In
emperador.
America,
No sé
you
dónde
can see a
está.
sharp decline in manufacturing jobs starting in about the 1980s because these jobs are being offered to China. But at the same time, you see this steady increase in government jobs. So people in America are doing less real work, and more people are becoming bureaucrats. Okay. So as you can see, the growth in the government is usually in management. Okay? Real work? No, it's pretty flat. But look at the managers, look at the administrators, okay? They're going way up. And it's a pretty steady increase. Alright, so how do we know the government doesn't really do anything? Okay, so there's a study that shows us that it's looking at rules, okay? So rules help society be more efficient. So as you can see, the number of rules have gone down actually. The number of significant rules that actually impact you day to day, have gone way down. But, this is interesting, the paperwork has gone up. Okay? So this tells us the managers, the administrators in the federal government of the United States, they don't do anything but produce paperwork that's meaningless. That has no impact on the lives of ordinary people. Okay, let's look at the military. So everyone believes that America has the world's greatest military because it spends the most on the military, and that's always attack weapons, right? The problem is the bureaucracy in the military right now. So you see what's happening is an increase in management because the ratio of manager officer to soldier is going down. Okay, so you have more officers and less soldiers. That's a problem if you're fighting a war. All right, so in the Civil War, in the 1860s, you had one officer for every 14 soldiers. Now it's 1 to 4. Okay? The biggest problem is the increase in generals. Okay, so you can see 3- and 4-star generals have increased the most. In World War II, America had about 12 million soldiers. They had 7 generals who were 4-star. Today, America has about 1.2 million soldiers. They have 40 4-star generals. And this is a huge problem. Why? Because if you're a 4-star general, you have a lot of privileges beyond your salary. So, this is from Raymond Dubas, who works in the Pentagon, and he writes about the perks of a 4-star general. A 4-star general. So a 4-star general always has his own personal airplane. What is a personal airplane? It's called a G5. This is what a G5 is, guys. This is what a G5 is. This is his own personal plane. It's always there for him. If he doesn't want to fly, it's waiting on a tarmac for him, okay? You can see how luxurious it is. This costs $50 to $60 million per plane. Every 4-star general has this plane. At the same time, guys, what's happening to soldiers? The soldiers don't have enough to eat. There's 1.2 million veterans on food stamps. Okay, that's 8% of all veterans in America. The people who actually fight, the people who actually make sacrifices for the country, don't have enough to eat, while the generals fly around in like these really nice planes. That's the state of the American military. Alright, so it's not just the military, it's every single U.S. government department, okay? All the administrators. You see massive increase in administration. Alright, so people do real work. It's the red. People who do actually no work is the blue. Okay? So people who do science and engineering, 621. People who do administration, 1782. So in every federal bureaucracy, you have low. You have managers who do nothing. You have very few people who do the actual real work. It's true for every single federal organization in America. So this just shows you
Una muerte
the ratio
deshonrosa
managers
para
decide
una
to for the
pelea
employees.
deshonrosa.
What's really funny about bureaucracy is evaluation is very important. Who does the evaluation? Managers do the evaluation. So at the end of the year, they do performance review, and what happens is they evaluate themselves and their friends that you did a great job. They then look at other people who do the work and say, you guys could do better, okay? So outstanding is the highest
Sus almas fueron liberadas.
performance review for the government, right? 64% got outstanding, okay? Manager who do nothing every day. 47% got outstanding for every other job. Okay? So it's a win game. Same thing with hospital. The brown is the growth in doctors. You can see it's pretty steady. So look at the administrators.
Solo con
Okay? So yellow are the administrators.
no se
It's
hace una casa
growing up.
fuerte.
Okay? And so it causes healthcare costs to go up. The reason why healthcare is so unaffordable in the United States is not because it has the best healthcare in the world. It doesn't. It's expensive because it's got so many administrators who do nothing every day. All right. So what do the managers do? Well, the managers always think of new ways to screw everyone else. Okay. So these are health insurance companies, and this is their denial rate. Okay. So you work hard for 40 years to pay your health insurance. Okay. And then maybe you get cancer, and then you go to a doctor. The doctor charges you like $1 million. And you're like, you don't have $1 million, but you have insurance. So you go to an insurance company, like, hey, I paid 40 years of insurance fees. Can you help me out? And look, the insurance company, United Healthcare, about a third, 32% of all claims are denied. And they do this as practice because if you fight them, they'll say, okay, you know what, we'll agree to pay you back, right? But if you don't fight them, then they're like, great. Okay? So it's extremely unethical. And so that's what managers do every day. Think of new ways to screw over their patients and doctors.
Llenaré de agujeros la piel corrompida.
All right. So why is this happening? All right. Why is America like this? Why is the West like? Why is the entire world like this? So this is Franz Kafka, and he was writing before World War I. This is his most famous book called The Trial. Okay, I'm not sure if you guys have read this book or heard of this book. Okay, it's very good. And the novel, it's a very interesting novel because the main character, Joseph K., he works at a bank. He's a bank clerk. And he has never gotten into trouble his entire life, okay? He's very obedient. He's very nice. He just sticks to himself. And then one day, the police come and arrest him. The police don't tell him why. And Joseph K. tries to figure out why, but he does not know what he did wrong. He does not know why he's being arrested. And then he's put on trial. And the judge doesn't tell him what he did wrong. Okay? And just in case, trying to figure out why this happened to you, okay? And this is his answer. Its purpose is to arrest innocent people and wage pointless prosecution against them, which, as in my case, leads to no result. How are we to avoid those in office becoming deeply corrupt when that thing is devoid of meaning? Okay? Because society is talking about bureaucracy, and bureaucrats need things to do. So they go, the police want to arrest innocent people, and then send them to trial, okay? Now, what he doesn't say is, the police could arrest criminals, right? But the police don't want to do that because the criminals might fight back. Or the criminals might be mean, okay? They rather arrest an innocent person because they know the person will be compliant. Okay, that's the logic of bureaucrats. How do I justify my existence by doing as little work as possible? Okay? So, this sounds strange, but let me tell you a story. This is a true story. I'm in Toronto with my two boys, and I let them run around the park, okay? And we've been doing this for 2 months. So I trust them. one of my boys, he's 4 years old, he went too far, and I lose track of
Ok.
him. Okay?
Vamos a
A
recapitular un
stranger
poco, ¿de
finds
acuerdo?
him and starts talking to him.
Este
But my
tenía que
boy
ser un
doesn't speak
comienzo
any
de
English.
verdad. Un
So
mundo perfecto,
people now
libre
surround
del
my
mal que
boy,
había
like,
corrompido
where
todos
your
los
parents?
rincones del
And
universo
he
conocido
is
y del
scared because he
desconocido.
doesn't speak any English. So he
Iba a ser
faints.
un lugar
Okay, that's
seguro
what
para
he
los
does. He faints
chiquillos.
to protect
Los
himself.
pequeños
So they
ustedes,
call the police,
ustedes
they call
pequeños.
the paramedics,
Y fue
they
bien por un
come,
tiempo.
make sure he's all right. Okay, now I find him. Okay, and now the police
Pero las cosas
interview
empezaron
me,
a torcerse
interrogate me,
poco
and I explain
después
to
de
him
que
what happened.
llegaran.
And at this point, they just let us go home, right? But they insist on
Ahora,
taking us to the
comprendo su
hospital.
consternación
I'm
inicial al
like,
verlos cara a
if we're in the
cara con Maxis.
hospital, we can be stuck there for
Y
like
más
12
después
hours.
de tanto
We can be in
tiempo.
line, and like the paramedics, the MAT has already told
Pero
us there's
ustedes
something
hicieron lo
wrong with him.
correcto.
Okay, it's not heat stroke, he just fainted. But he's
Siguieron el
fine.
plan.
His vital signs are fine.
Trajeron
The
aquí la
police
llave de
keep on
invocación
insisting.
y destruyeron esa
Meanwhile,
endemoniada
there's a
máquina de
fight
una
going
vez
on
por
at the park.
todas.
Okay? And I'm thinking to myself, why are you guys bothering me and not
La
going
cuestión es
to
que
arrest those guys who are
Maxis fue y
fighting
lo fastidió
somewhere else?
todo.
And the answer is because it's easy to deal with me than it is to go arrest those
Por
guys.
favor,
Okay?
deben
That's how bureaucrats think.
ayudarme.
They're always thinking of
Ya
ways
ven, oía
to just
voces
about existence,
que lo llamaban.
but not do real work. Okay?
Solo
And that's the
juntos podremos impedir que
message
destruyan
of the
su
trial.
mundo.
Eventually, society becomes so bureaucratic
La verdad no fue
that the
culpa
bureaucrats
suya.
only think
Saben que
about how to make
todavía no consigo
problems
su
for
alma.
ordinary citizens
Lo que conseguí fue un cerebro.
because
Pero da igual.
life
La
becomes
cuestión
easier
clave,
for
que
them.
en este caso es una
Okay?
llave,
Does that make
es que
sense?
Maxis estuvo toqueteando el
Let's move on
cachivache
to
mágico ese y
the
liberó
origins
por
of
accidente
progressive
a un cabrón
terrorism by
todavía
Hannah
más
Arendt. Hannah
grande.
Arendt is the 20th century's one of the 20th century's most
Alguien que ni yo sabía que estuviera ahí
powerful
adentro.
intellectuals. And she's writing about
Era
how
Shadowman,
Nazism came to dominate Germany, now communism
el
came to dominate
único.
Soviet Russia, and how these two regimes led to the deaths of tens of millions of people. How they started World War II, how they created the Holocaust, how they created the famine. Okay? And in her book, she says that these two regimes are religious cults. They're evil.
Chicos, les comento que me andan copiando las botas a full ustedes, boludo. Max, yo tenía estas son las Atomic Magma, las 130. Yo tenía la misma, boludo. Y ahora compré una Fisher y Guayna se compró la Fisher, boludo. ¿Cómo me copian, boludo? Brother,
¿Cómo haces, boludo? ¿Cómo haces, chavo? No.
It's got to be around here somewhere.
Where are we, Guts?
I don't know. We were on the main road just a second ago.
This trip sure gotten buzz. You ready?
Hey, can you drive? I got some work to do.
Okay.
This place is sweet.
Yeah, sweet.
Come on, we're here. Look around. Dude, look. Check out these crazy rocks.
You know what's crazy is like, how come this thing is not connected? Bluetooth not on?
I'm not even looking at the snow. Well, we're home.
Finally, to get some Wi-Fi.
I remember when I found out that gay people go to hell, according to the church, and I got scared. Because I'm not gay, but what if God thinks I'm gay? What if I come off a little quick to the Lord? What if he happens to glance at me when I hit my toe and I'm like, ow? He's like, oh, I know where you're going, you fuck. I mean, that's their thing. I don't believe that. God doesn't hate you because you're gay. God made you gay because he hates you. No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. There's no God. I remember when I found out that
We? Who's we? There is no we. We?
I know what you're saying, but what's popping?
We? Who's we? There is no we.
I know what you're saying, but what's popping, Scar? Mufasa? Kuna Matata, motherfucker. You just gonna let them walk through your set like this? This all shit. I know what you're
Right? Right? Right?
You want an easy way to look through the files, okay? And before I show you, can you just like, comment, and repost and share this video? Please go to jmail.world, and two very clever developers have pulled all of the emails into a Gmail inbox that you can search. This is straight.
Hello, and welcome to Gardening on Salvia. I'm Eric, your host. Today we're going to learn how to plant a curry plant in our garden on Salvia. Now, I picked out a great spot. Hello, and welcome to Gardening on Salvia. I'm Eric, your host. Today we're going to
Fun fact, when the Norwegian Red Cross needed to find 4,000 people to donate blood in order to refill their critically low blood banks, Instead of reaching out to previous donors, they instead focused on soccer rivalries. A lot of sports fans say they'll bleed for their team, and the Norwegian Red Cross wanted them to prove it by setting up the Blood League, which allowed people to select which soccer club they supported when registering to donate blood, and once they gave blood, they were added to a scoreboard that showed which club had given the most blood and therefore had the most.
Who are you?
Me? I know who I am. I'm a slave that dude disguised as another dude. What? You dudes don't know what to do.
Rosencrantz? Look at this. Watch closely. Interesting.
Wake him up. Oh, yeah. Hi, Ryan. Yeah. What's up, bud? Hi. Wake him up.
Well, no, ladies, man, I know that, Johnny. I never got girls when I was a kid in show business either, you know? Oh, one girl told me, come on over. There's nobody home. I went over. There was nobody home. And this girl was no bargain either. She was fat. Ooh. Fat, huh? When she wears high heels, she strikes oil, okay? She's fat. Big girl. Oh, I met her at the Macy's parade. She was wearing ropes. Well, no, ladies, man, I know that, Johnny. I never got girls when I was a kid in show business either, you know? Johnny, I never got girls. I know that, Johnny. I never got girls when I was... I know that, Johnny. I never got girls when I was... a kid in show business either, you know? Oh, one girl told me, come on over. There's nobody home. I went...
How far are you going?
About 30 years.
Are you single?
No.
How long you had a man?
5 years.
How long have you had a baby?
It's almost 2.
Was it with him or with somebody else?
Alpha Discovery, initiating RPM 321 mark.
That activity coordinated with the crew on board the International Space Station to allow flight engineers Yuri Malenchenko and Clay Anderson to photograph Discovery's heat shield, focusing on the tiles on the underside of the orbiter. Discovery and the International Space Station currently orbiting about 214 statute miles above the Atlantic Ocean, about to cross over Europe.
Alpha Discovery, initiating RPM 321 mark.
Its jaws, as you can see, are not wide and flat like an African crocodile, but long and thin. And because of that shape, there's very little resistance to the water, so they can snatch fish, which they do very effectively. They're very formidable. As you can see, are not wide and flat.